Okay. Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Project Lonestar here in Texarkana. To everyone in the room and to those on the live stream at home, we're so glad you're here on this very special day. My name is Kelly Khalil. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at EnergyX. This is a defining moment for EnergyX, and it all started here in Texarkana. This community is a big reason for why we're standing here today. This is not just about building a facility or a plant. It's about building something that lasts. And progress like this doesn't happen in isolation. It takes alignment between community, leadership, and execution. I'd like to recognize someone who represents that leadership here in this region. Please join me in welcoming the board chair of the Texarkana Chamber of Commerce and the CEO of Tex America Center, Scott Norton.
Thank you, Kelly. What a great day, right? So I'd like to welcome you all to Tex America Center to celebrate what's going on here with EnergyX and their demonstration plant. On behalf of the Board of Directors of Tex America Center and the staff of Tex America Center, we're excited to have each and every one of you here today, and we're excited to have you here in the future when we do more things with EnergyX and other tenants. The purpose of Tex America Center is to take the 12,000 acres that we acquired that were formerly part of Lonestar Army Ammunition Plant and Red River Army Depot, and to create jobs and tax base for this region. Today is a great example of success when we make that happen. And as Kelly said, we don't make that happen alone. So thanks to each and every one of you for supporting us to make that happen. So thank you for being here today. And as the board chair for the Texarkana Chamber of Commerce, and on behalf of the board of the Texarkana Chamber of Commerce and the staff, I want to thank EnergyX for becoming a member of the Texarkana Chamber of Commerce and investing in this community, and being here to support job creation and capital investment. Not just doing that, but investing in this community with job creation and investing in the institutions of higher education in this community. So thank you again for being here. Thank you to EnergyX. Thank you to Teague for all that you do in this community and what you will do in the future in this community. And again, thank you to each one of you for being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Behind everything you're going to see here today is a team that believed in a big vision. And they chose to move with conviction, even when it meant doing something that's never been done before. The EnergyX team, scientists, engineers, builders, operators, they've turned a bold idea into something real. Our partners and collaborators have made it happen. Our investors backed us early when they saw an opportunity, and they've leaned in as we've scaled up. And the media, who has told our story along the way, thank you. We also have the support from leaders all across Texas. And while some of them couldn't be here in person, they've crafted a message for us. Let's take a listen.
Congratulations to EnergyX.
Congratulations to EnergyX.
Congratulations to EnergyX and to its CEO, Teague Egan, on opening the first of its kind lithium processing facility right here in Texas.
Your partnerships with the Tex America Center and the Red River Army Depot will create jobs and boost the economy in the region.
East Texas has vast natural resources, including lithium, that can help secure this country's access to the critical minerals that are essential for national security, for advanced manufacturing, and for energy independence.
Project Lonestar demonstrates that the United States can produce lithium efficiently and at a low cost, and that Texas is the very best place in the country to do so.
We need Texas's innovative spirit now more than ever.
We're so proud to be with you today. Good luck and Godspeed.
Thanks to everyone here for your efforts to make Texas a leader in the extraction technology and refining capabilities that will lead us into the next golden age. Keep up the great work.
May God bless you all, and may God continue to bless the Lone Star State.
That support means something, because it means we're building something bigger, something that was built to last. It's part of a much larger shift, a new era in clean energy and a new era for Texas. We often hear a phrase, timing is everything. But timing alone doesn't matter. It's what you do with it. It's how you act when the opportunity presents itself. Sometimes it happens when you least expect it. You could be on vacation in a remote desert in Bolivia, standing on salt flats, and suddenly something clicks. Most people pause, they analyze, or they forget. They move on. And then there are a few who recognize an opportunity, who are inspired to act, immediately, relentlessly, and without hesitation. I've spent the last 8 years working alongside Teague Egan, and I can tell you firsthand, he's the luckiest guy I know. But not because things just happen to him, because he puts himself in the right position to see the opportunity. And then he acts on it faster than anyone I've ever seen. I've been by his side in the trenches. We've traveled the country and the world, and I've had a front row seat to see how he recognizes opportunity. When others miss it, he moves when others would walk away. For example, when he found himself standing in a remote part of Bolivia on a bunch of lithium, he realized that lithium could power the future of the world. A gap no one had solved yet. That was the first strike of lightning. What makes him different is what happens next. He doesn't slow down. He builds with a level of speed, conviction, persistence I've never seen before. What you're about to see here today is the result of that mindset. Not years of waiting, not years of planting, but rapid execution. And a belief that the timeline should match the urgency of the opportunity. Opportunities like this don't come often, and this industry hasn't changed much. But what you'll see here today is something different, because when lightning strikes, he gets lit. It's my honor to introduce the man who doesn't wait for the future, the man who builds it. Please join me in welcoming the founder and CEO of EnergyX, Teague Egan.
X marks the spot, yeah, we light it up, turn the future on, and we rise right up from Texas to Chile, yeah, we can't be stopped, follow every heartbeat, find the X on top, X marks the spot, feel the beat drop, got that X factor glow, and it won't turn off.
Lonestar.
I could have named this event something generic, and we could have had a little town hall meeting, but I figured I'd name it Get Lit at Lonestar. So first and foremost, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the entire EnergyX team for turning this dream into a reality. Right now, you are standing in the biggest DLE lithium plant in America. What you guys are about to see here today inside that plant is a 21st century engineering marvel. I think Kelly said this industry does not change much, and it has literally not changed in the past 100 years. There's been zero innovation until now. Everyone told us that this was impossible. They said DLE technology doesn't work. They said, Teague, you don't have the lithium deposits. No one will license the technology from you because you can't prove it. Teague, you're an outsider. You have no experience. You've never built a plant before. You can't do this. You can't do that. And they tried to put a glass ceiling over my head. But the EnergyX team will not let that happen. So how about we take a look at this video?
As a startup energy technology company, how do you even dream of building a lithium mega project in the United States?
We're rethinking critical minerals. We're developing breakthrough DLE technology from the ground up. We have to make lithium production orders of magnitude more efficient, more cost effective, smaller footprint, modular, faster to market. And we've lost sight of lithium technology innovation in the United States. China is a decade, maybe two, ahead of us in critical minerals. We want to build many modular prefabricated lithium trains in a row, which means we're learning how to do scaled construction in our demo facility now. Everything here, this is our commercial site. We have 330 acres of all of this and those old munitions plants over there, which is where we're gonna build our 50,000 ton commercial site. So our approach to engineering is radically different. We can't just accept the status quo. How do we leverage our engineering algorithm to rapidly accelerate the timeline? EnergyX is going back to the first principles in terms of lithium production. We're designing it from the ground up because that's ultimately what it takes.
It's insane what EnergyX has done in the last year. This place was literally just an abandoned army barracks less than 12 months ago.
How we supply the required critical minerals into our supply chain, I think that's the story of the century.
Everything that you're looking at the plant today is new technology. Like, this literally doesn't exist. There's other people trying to do it, not as good as us. Our costs are the lowest, our efficiencies are the highest, our recovery rates are superior. So while other people are just making technology, they don't own their own resources like we do. We're really taking like a SpaceX Tesla approach where we have to procure, develop our whole supply chain because it doesn't exist. Our goal is simple: become the biggest lithium company in the world.
Let's go. How about that video? That gets me pumped up. You guys have no idea how it feels to be on this stage right now. I started this company when I was 28 years old, a kid. People had every right to doubt me, an outsider, no experience in lithium, no experience in mining, no experience or background in chemical engineering, no track record of building a plant like this. But we have come a long way, and today I'm beyond excited to show you the biggest DLE plant in the US, on top of a world-class lithium deposit. We have the brightest engineers, the brightest scientists, the best operators, and the best team that made this all possible. So I'm super excited to give you this presentation today. There are a few forward-looking statements. Obviously, we're trying to build the biggest lithium plant in the world, which is going to happen in the next 2 years. But first, why do we need lithium? A lot of reasons. We have electric vehicles that are blowing up. And while there's some rhetoric that they're slowing down, that could not be further from the truth. Back in 2010, there was maybe 5,000 electric vehicles. In 2025, there were 20 million electric vehicles sold. And in 2026, that number will be even bigger. We have energy storage systems. Those are growing at the pace that electric vehicles were 10 years ago, 50% year over year. We have drones that the Red River Army Depot is trying to build right next door. And we all know how important drones are becoming for national defense. And then we have the future with humanoid robots and other applications that will need literally hundreds of thousands or millions of tons of lithium. So what does lithium demand look like over the next 20, 30 years? You can see here in 2010, we only needed 120,000 tons per year. This is essentially at the advent, or a few years after the real advent of electric vehicles. But predominantly, lithium was used for glass, ceramics, probably applications that you had no idea lithium was used for. Then we go to 2015. Electric vehicles were starting to catch on a little bit, and this is when early adoption of electric vehicles were there. In 2020, lithium battery ion expansion begins. Electric vehicles are really picking up, and now we're at 300,000 tons a year. Now we're in 2025 or 2026, and we've already crossed 1.3 million tons of lithium, up from 120,000 tons. That's a 10x increase in this material in just the last 15 years. That kind of increase is unheard of in a commodity. Fast forward now, we're going to 2030. The projections, 2.5 to 3.3 million tons of lithium. We're seeing EV mass adoption, we're seeing drones, we're seeing energy storage systems. Now 2040, we're looking at 5 million tons of lithium. We're looking at mass grid storage, EV domination, humanoid robots, and lithium is needed in all of those batteries. And then finally, 2050, we're up between 6 and 10 million tons. Now, this table might be hard to realize how big of an increase that is, but hopefully this chart is not. Today, we're right here, 2025. The hockey stick curve has not even started yet. That is the opportunity that we are faced with here today. So where does lithium come from? I think a few people in this audience might have an idea or two. I discovered where lithium came from when I took my infamous trip to Bolivia. Completely unbeknownst to me, I was backpacking through Bolivia, and at the Salar de Uyuni, where I went to take Instagram pictures, I found out that was the largest lithium reserve in the world. It was at that moment that I realized I had never actually thought about where the battery in my Tesla actually came from. And it was at that moment that I decided to start EnergyX. Lithium comes from huge salars in South America in the lithium triangle, such as this one in Atacama. And what you're looking at here is the SQM brine ponds in Chile. SQM is one of the biggest lithium producers in the world. Not for long. It takes them 18 months for the brine to go through this pond sequence. And they only recover 30 to 40% of the available lithium that they pump out. The rest, wasted. What you're looking at right here is 38.3 square miles. And it takes 300 cubic meters of water per ton of lithium. But you might ask, how big is 38.3 square miles? It's kind of an arbitrary number. It's that big. It's literally the size of Texarkana. And we cannot put that in Texarkana. It also comes from hard rock mines. Who wants that in their backyard? No hands. One hand? Well, that wasn't a hand. That was Juan Carlos. But it's also right beneath our feet in the smack over lithium fields. And that presents a huge opportunity for us. But only if we can get it out of the ground without using one of those two prior methods, which are the only methods until today that are commercial. We invented breakthrough technology in order to get that lithium out of the ground beneath our feet in the smackover. Back in 2019, Forbes wrote an article about us. They said this breakthrough lithium extraction technology could accelerate the energy transition. We could. They didn't know T. Egan back then. We've done that today. This is the difference between evaporation ponds and the get-lit direct lithium extraction technology. We're talking orders of magnitude difference. The recovery time, 18 months to 1 day. The recovery rate, 30 to 40% to over 94%. And we've actually got that up in some of our recent trials here at the demonstration plant. Our footprint, 500 cubic meters per ton of lithium. You saw those ponds, 38 square miles, compared to 3 cubic meters per ton of lithium. We are 1/200th the size. Water usage, 300 cubic meters of water per ton of lithium. We use 22. That's big. That's really big. And then the CapEx and OpEx. We'll get to that later. This is our pilot plant. We built this in Austin about a year ago, a little bit more now. And we've been piloting what you see here today. Today, you're about to see a $30 million investment that EnergyX has made into the Smackover and into Texarkana. This pilot plant, we have 2 pilot lines in this picture. Each of these cost a few $1 million. But when you go through the tour today, which I cannot wait to show you guys, you see these brine totes, these 1 cubic meter totes of brine. Just think about that for comparison on how much bigger this is than that. So when we were developing this technology, we really took a first principles approach and re-engineered and redesigned from the ground up. How can we move away from evaporation ponds to a 21st century technology idea? And it takes 3 core pillars. 1, a technology platform. There's not a single one-size-fits-all technology, and we have developed multiple technologies that are used in an integrated process in order to accomplish what we have here today. Number 2, prefabricated and modular. So typically when you're building a plant, you build the equipment, then you ship the equipment, and then you have to do all this on-site construction. And there's something called a laying factor, which actually makes your plant sometimes 4, 5, 6 times what it costs to build the equipment. We decided to scrap all of that and build our systems prefabricated and modular, so they're built in a plant and then shipped to site and then just plugged in and they work. And number 3, vertical integration. For EnergyX, once we developed the technology, that meant owning the resource, so we're vertically integrated upstream, and controlling our supply chain, like I mentioned in that video. We make all of the membranes, the resin that you'll see that fills our columns, the solvent extraction that goes into our solvent extraction units. We are vertically and horizontally integrated in order to achieve, ultimately, the lowest cost. So platform technology. I recently changed the name of this. It used to be called LITUS, a very unmemorable name. It stood for lithium ion transport and separation. And somebody was like, this name sucks. And I agreed. And I look at all the names that Elon calls his stuff. His cars are SEXY. You know, he has cool names. And I was like, we need cool names. So I changed the name to Get Lit, which stands for Get Lithium. I know the bartenders have been busy tonight, but it actually stands for Get Lithium. We have 3 core pillars of our Get Lit technology platform. 1 is adsorption, 2 is solvent extraction, and 3 are membranes. And this differentiates us from all of the other technology producers that are out there. Now, a lot of companies that are trying to build these plants don't even produce their own technology. For instance, our neighbors over here to our east, they license their technology, who sublicenses their technology from China. EnergyX doesn't do that. We make all of our own technology right here in the United States, and that's super important to me. So adsorption. When we talk about the Get Lit technology platform, it's not like we just accumulated different technologies. Again, we designed all these technologies from the ground up to be best in class. Adsorption, for instance, has a 95% plus recovery rate, a 98% impurity rejection. But the most important part is our productivity, which is how we compare our adsorption against others. You can't just measure it on recovery rate or impurity, because what if it takes a whole week to run through a column? So the way that we do that is kilograms of lithium, or weight of lithium, by cubic meter of adsorbent, so how much adsorbent it's going through, by period of time. And if you're a DLE, or if you're a lithium producer out there looking to license a technology, which we're also happy to do, just come talk to us and talk about productivity before you go license from Aquatech or those other people that are out there. Also, water usage. You know, we actually honed in on water usage because of South America. The plant that we're designing down there is in a salar where there is literally no fresh water. And I mean literally no fresh water. We are trucking water from a desalination plant on the coast of Chile 300 kilometers up into the mountains at 3,000 meters of altitude. That is no fresh water. You guys have some fresh water here, but we can translate those learnings to use minimal fresh water right here in the Smackover. Our strength of our adsorbent, 3 times stronger than the best competitor that is a Chinese supplier. And also the cost savings, 65% less, because we make our own adsorbent. Solvent extraction, the second pillar. Lithium recovery, again, 98%. Lithium concentration factor, 120 times. So when the lithium enters solvent extraction, it's still very, very dilute. The lithium comes up out of the wells at 0.05% lithium. Like, you may think it's like oil and gas where you hit a gusher and there's oil and gas shooting up. The water comes up, and to us, hitting the jackpot is if there's 0.05% lithium in that water. So we need to figure out how to extract that and concentrate it up. And that's exactly what solvent extraction does. It takes that 0.05% and concentrates it up to 6%, which is near saturation of lithium, which is 120x concentration factor. Impurity rejection, again, top class. Water recovery, 85%. So when we go through solvent extraction, this is where we want to recover the water. The lithium moves on to a subsequent process step, but there's all the water left in solvent extraction. And in the next few slides, you'll see where we recover that water through reverse osmosis. Environmental. We're obviously all doing this for the energy transition to have a carbon-free future. Solvent extraction has very little or relatively non-detectable discharge. And then the commercial bed size, we'll get to this when we talk about prefabricated and modular, 1,800 square feet, which is, I don't know, maybe half the size of this room for every commercial mixer settler. And finally, membranes. So we've designed 7 proprietary formulations of our membranes. And each membrane stack, which you'll see today, is up to 600 cell pairs on the commercial scale. The one you'll see today is our demonstration one, which is, I believe, about 200 cell pairs. But when you combine all the membranes in it, it's about 200 square meters. Also, there's no waste in the membranes at all. We only use electricity, and there's no waste at all. The current density up to 1,000 amps per cubic meter. Cost savings 80% less, and all of this leads to why we are the lowest cost producer. And the performance is 1,500 tons per lithium per stack of membranes for the Lonestar plant. So prefabricated and modular, I talked a little bit about this, but this is a first principle. We think about like the way that Elon has designed SpaceX rockets to be rapid and reusable. That's the only way that you can lower the cost of kilogram of payload to space. Well, the only way that we can lower the cost of lithium coming out of a DLE plant is to make our whole plant prefabricated and modular. So we have a short video to show you what that looks like. Or maybe we don't. Here we go. So I'm going to run you through what we're going to see today. We started the adsorption section, which is the first one. Then we go to calcium, magnesium precipitation. Again, you'll see these skids that are all prefabricated and modular. So essentially, we're building everything that's container shipping size, putting it in. Some may have multiple containers at the commercial size. We go to reverse osmosis that saves the water. That's where we run water from solvent extraction back to adsorption. Then we have a polishing step to get rid of all the rest of the impurities, ion exchange. Again, very modular. Then we have our membranes, which is called bipolar electrodialysis. This is how we turn lithium chloride into lithium hydroxide. In this plant, this is of course still a demonstration plant, we want the ability to go to lithium carbonate, which is what our precipitation does, but we can also go to lithium hydroxide, which is what our crystallization does. So you'll see every single one of our steps is prefabricated and modular, and that's a core principle for our whole engineering team that has designed the GetLit platform. Third is vertical integration. So when we started our journey in EnergyX and we were just developing technology, we were trying to license the GetLit, or at the time Litus, to third-party lithium resource owners because we said we had a better way to do it. We had a more cost-efficient way. And guess how many of them licensed from us? 0. Zero. Now, we're still willing to license to them, but maybe at a slightly higher cost today. Basically, what we had to do was prove ourselves, and I'm all about proving myself. We had to go acquire our own resources and build the plant to show them that this truly is the future. So we went out and we acquired 2 world-class lithium resources. The first one in South America. South America stakes claim to the lithium triangle. If you guys are unfamiliar, it's one of the best lithium brine resources in the world between northern Chile, northern Argentina, and southern Bolivia. We have 100,000 acres down in Antofagasta, Chile, where we're building Project Black Giant. And Lonestar, you guys probably want to know a little bit about Lonestar. I'll get to that in a second. But first, Black Giant. I mentioned 100,000 acres in the lithium triangle. We've done a resource estimate with our geology team in South America that shows up to 9.8 million tons of lithium. So we're planning a 50,000 ton plant. Now, we are phasing our plants because, again, prefabricated and modular, we build in trains. So the first train in South America, 7,500 tons, and then we add 6 more trains to hit 52,500. Our CapEx per ton, $12,500 per ton. So if we want to go build this 52,000 ton plant, it's going to roughly cost us $725 million. The first train costs us a little bit more, and then we hit economies of scale. The OpEx per ton, under $3,000 per ton. Now, they have very advantageous circumstances in South America. The brine is very near the surface. We have to drill just a few hundred meters. Here in Texarkana, in the Smackover, we actually have to go down a few thousand meters. So we have to drill about 10 times deeper. But Lonestar. EnergyX has acquired nearly 50,000 acres of lithium resources right here in the Smackover. You're actually sitting on some right now through our partnership with Tex Americas. Thanks, Scott. I don't know where. Thanks, Scott. Our production targets. Our first train is going to be 12,500 tons, followed by an additional 3 trains that will equal 50,000 tons of lithium production right here in Texarkana. Our CapEx per ton, $21,000. We have to drill a little bit deeper. There are a few extra steps. We have to get rid of some iron. We have to get rid of some H2S, some hydrogen sulfate. There's a few nasty things in the brine here in the Smackover, but obviously nothing we can't deal with. But a little bit more for those systems and a little bit more for the OpEx at $37,500 or $3,750. But in Texarkana, EnergyX is putting in over $1 billion of investment to build this plant. We're going to be producing 99.9% lithium hydroxide. And we're working on a Worley FEL2 engineering study right now. So the lowest cost. I just talked about what our costs are. For Black Giant, we're at $12,500 a ton and under $3,000 a ton OpEx. For Lonestar, we're at $21,000 a ton CapEx and $37.50. Our good buddies over at Lithium America, very nice people, very nice people. But they're at $72,500 a ton and $6,200 a ton OpEx. They have a big loan from the United States government, but let's just say that I'm anxious to see that plant build. Down in South America, our friends over at Codelco, they're building a 20,000 ton plant, so much, much smaller than the 250,000 ton plants that we're building. But they're at $60,000 per ton CapEx and $3,700 per ton OpEx. Remember, Very, very good brine down there. They actually have the second best resource in the world, so super high grade. But they're very expensive in terms of CapEx. Our neighbors, love those guys. For their 22,000 ton plant, they're at $64,000 per ton CapEx at $4,500 per ton OpEx. When I was at the Arkansas Lithium Summit in Little Rock back in October, they were talking about getting to their final investment decision by end of year. I'm still waiting. I'm not trying to talk shit. I really am not trying to talk shit, but but EnergyX has designed something completely different, something that will actually be built, something that people actually want to invest in, something that our community can actually rally around. And it's right here behind these walls, and you're about to see it in 20 minutes. SLB, a geothermal brine, or Energy Source Minerals out in California, over $50,000 per ton CapEx. We have some friends here from a neighboring company. I hope you guys decide to license our DLE technology. We can help you. Rio Tinto, a 60,000 ton plant down in Argentina, $42,000 per ton CapEx. Rio Tinto, please call me. I was just with their CEO. He brushed me off. Wait till he sees our demonstration plant. And finally, Aramet. They have built the only commercial DLE plant in the world in Argentina, outside of China, in Argentina. They're trying to ramp it up, but I commend those guys. $37,000 a ton CapEx and $5,000 per ton OpEx. But none pale in comparison to what we are building here at EnergyX. EnergyX benefits from the lowest CapEx and lowest OpEx positions amongst all global lithium projects. So timelines, I'm sure everybody here is wondering what this means for Texarkana. Well, it all started in 2018. The core team from EnergyX. We have Benny Friedman in the middle standing next to me, and the late, great John Goodenough. We have one of his disciples, Nick Grundish, on our team, who's been with us since the beginning. Our early team of scientists. But what have we accomplished to date since then? So EnergyX was founded in 2018. In 2019, we immediately started testing, or in 2019, we licensed some of our first technology in a partnership with the University of Texas. And that year, we started testing brines from some of the top lithium producers in the world. Then in 2020, we signed a term sheet with Suez, who manufactures membrane equipment. And because of all that, we were able to secure our first round of financing in 2020, or 2021, our Series A. With that capital, we came together in Austin, Texas. Before that, we were all remote, and we built our first pilot plant, which was just one shipping container that we put down in Bolivia. That test, that first pilot, led to our Series B, which was led by General Motors, Eni, the big Italian oil and gas company, and POSCO, the big Korean battery and cathode and lithium company. Very grateful for their belief in me, as well as all of our investors to date. After that, we secured an equity commitment from Global Emerging Markets, and we acquired our first resource down in South America, Project Black Giant. Then we got an LOI from the US Exim Bank for $690 million that will help us build our project in Chile. We did a follow-on to our Series B in 2024 for $75 million. And we completed our first engineering study with Worley. But our board of directors said, we cannot take all of that foreign country risk in Chile. We also need a lithium resource here in the United States. And EnergyX had been scouting thanks to our trusty VP of Business Development, Robert Hellman, where's the best lithium resource in the United States? And I'm very happy to say you guys are sitting on it right now in the Smackover. So we acquired Project Lonestar. Well, we announced it in 2024. And we did our first deal with Tex Americas, followed by an acquisition of Pantera that puts our resource acreage at nearly 50,000 tons. But EnergyX works fast. And I just want to, again, compliment the team here that has put this plant together in absolutely record speed. We announced our project in June of 2024, before we had even acquired our first lithium resource. We said, we are doing this. People doubted me. Then in September 2024, we signed our agreement with Tex Americas, which was 12,500 acres, and our commercial site, as well as the building that you guys are standing in today. February 2025, we commissioned our pilot plant in Austin, started testing real brines from the Smackover. Should we go build this demonstration plant based on the technology at the pilot level? The results were overwhelming, and we decided to acquire Pantera Lithium, which held 35,000 acres over in Arkansas for $40 million. Big acquisition. Then in September 2025, we drilled our own maiden well right here on the Texas side in the Smackover. And we got great lithium results. That is the well that's feeding this plant for the 250 tons of lithium that we're producing on an annual basis here. In December 2025, we procured all the equipment, and now 3 months later, we've been producing lithium, real lithium in this plant now for weeks. And I can't wait to show it to you at the end of the tour. So what does the future look like? Everybody here got to see that awesome billboard outside. But for the thousands that are watching this live streaming, this is Lonestar Lithium, the next chapter of American-made critical minerals. You can't see it on this screen. It's outside. Everybody that's live streaming can see that little building at the very bottom center with the X on it. You can pull out your phones and see it on Google Earth. We painted a big X on the top of the building. But behind it is what the commercial plant will look like on the 330 acres, only 400 meters to our south. And we're going to go build that in 2 years. So these are the commercial project timelines. Demo plant operations have already started, and we're already producing lithium that we're sending out to customers for qualification. That will be ongoing through the rest of this year and into next. We've already hired 15 to 20 people from the local community to operate this plant, and we're hiring another 15 to 20 so people can go on and send us their resumes for that. We've already started engineering for the commercial plant, which we anticipate to be live at the beginning of 2028, and that'll be the first 12,500 ton train. I think the first commercial DLE plant in the United States. We'll see how quickly our neighbors get their act together. And then 2 years after that, the 50,000 ton plant. In the meantime, we're acquiring additional acreage, trying to build our land position. And we're working on additional lithium R&D to produce other derivatives of lithium that are not only useful in the battery supply chain, but also necessary and useful in the nuclear supply chain, such as lithium isotopes. And then in 2032, we plan to scale to 100,000 tons, assuming that we acquire the appropriate acreage. But also, we're thinking beyond lithium. We want to go into cathodes and batteries with partners. and we're calling this the battery Mecca. So starting in 2027, we plan to start piloting cathodes with the lithium that's produced right here in this plant. And Scott, I told you, I want to do it right in that building next door. After that, we start the engineering for the commercial plant. And in 2030, we build the battery Mecca. This is with cathode partners and battery cell partners. We're trying to bring industry to Tex Americas, Hooks, and Texarkana. We'll look to bring on a cell partner in 2029 to help facilitate the battery Mecca, as well as partnerships with polymetallic nodule producers that will give us all of the balance of materials and base metals that are used in high energy density batteries other than lithium: the nickel, the cobalt, the copper, the manganese. So community. The community is very important to me. When we were doing our project down in Bolivia in 2022, we pledged $100,000 during the pilot phase. And even though we didn't win the commercial contract, we followed through. We built 6 schools, not the full school, but we built facilities in 6 schools, computer labs, as well as they have a big problem in Bolivia with eyesight down in the Potosi region, and we dedicated $50,000 to each of those initiatives. We want to help every community that we work in. So what does that look like for Hooks and Texarkana? We did an economic impact study from a third party, and they said that we would have a $17.2 billion impact on the surrounding counties through Project Lonestar over 10 years. And not only that, we'll be creating 3,130 direct, indirect, and construction jobs through this project. And finally, EnergyX is pledging $20 million to workforce development, community college, and education programs right here in Hooks and Texarkana. So I have one final thing to say. EnergyX's share price. We have a lot of investors in here, a lot of proud investors. Some investors who got in at the very beginning at 41 cents a share. Over the course of the past 6 years, our share price has gone up at every single milestone that we keep crossing. In the beginning, it was signing a term sheet with Suez. Then it was a $50 million round with GM. Then we acquired land in Chile. Then we acquired land here in Texarkana. Then we announced that we were going nuclear. It's steadily risen, and we've gone from 11 to 12 in the past few months. But it's increasing again. And on April 16th, we'll go up from 12. And I'm very excited for that moment. But with that, I welcome everybody to visit us at energyx.com/Lonestar to see how you can contribute, maybe work at Lonestar, and build the lithium community together with me in Texarkana. Thank you, guys. So with that, I would like to welcome Amit, Juan Carlos, and Kelly, some of my closest trusted partners, to cut the ribbon. And the rest of you can circle around. Don't be shy. Come on up here. Let's cue the music. Where's X marks the spot?
X marks the spot, yeah, we light it up, turn the future on, and we rise right up from Texas to Chile, yeah, we can't be stopped, follow every heartbeat, find the X on top, X marks the spot, feel the beat drop, got that X factor glow, and it won't turn off.
All right, we're gonna do a tour. Everybody feel free to follow along. Let's do it. Keep the music rolling. So we're standing here at the EnergyX Lonestar demonstration plant. We have a very cool tour for the whole audience that's here, as well as everybody watching online. The first step of the EnergyX plant is adsorption. We have Amit here, our CTO, who's going to give you a rundown of adsorption. Over to you, Amit.
Platform. After an iron removal step outside next to the feed tanks, the lithium-bearing brine comes inside to adsorption. We don't want any iron getting into adsorption. These columns behind me are filled with specialized sorbent resin that EnergyX makes in-house. This is the special sauce that selectively captures lithium ions while rejecting almost everything else. EnergyX's proprietary sorbent has 6 times higher productivity, 3 times greater mechanical strength, and is roughly 1/3 the cost. Plus, we only use 15 to 25 cubic meters of fresh water per ton of lithium compared to others who use up 200. Water is used to release the lithium from the resin that moves into the next step. Remember, lithium is only 0.05% of the content of the brine entering adsorption. The majority of the dissolved elements are calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and sulfate, and they just pass right through the column to be re-injected into the ground. Now we have a much cleaner lithium stream. But here's the key insight. Adsorption is only one step in the full process. After adsorption, the purified lithium stream goes to calcium-magnesium removal. See you over there.
Solvent extraction, and check out the second, or calcium-magnesium removal, and check out the second step in the process. So we've designed this. This is a 22,000 square foot demo facility. And adsorption is the first step after the iron removal that happens outside. Calcium magnesium removal is our second step. Amit's going to tell you a little bit about calcium magnesium removal.
Magnesium removal, the second major step in our GetLit Daily platform. The purified lithium brine comes to calcium magnesium removal after our adsorption unit operation. While not a proprietary pillar, we have completed custom designs and engineering to this unit operation to be most effective after adsorption. I mentioned adsorption removes most of the calcium and magnesium, but there is still 2 to 3% left, and we need 99.9% purity in our lithium to reach battery grade. This step takes out the calcium and magnesium, the peskiest of impurities, down from 2 to 3% to 0.001%, a critical step in further purifying our lithium stream. After this step, the lithium brine goes to solvent extraction.
Good job, Amit. Thanks for showing us calcium and magnesium removal. Now we're going to go over to the third step. Just walk around the pillars here. So solvent extraction is our second proprietary pillar. I'll let Amit tell you a little bit about solvent extraction.
Solvent extraction, the second proprietary pillar of EnergyX's GetLit Daily technology platform. After calcium-magnesium removal, the brine now comes here to solvent extraction. Solvent extraction is a widely used process in the mining industry for base metals, rare earths, and uranium. In fact, about 25% of the world's copper is produced using solvent extraction. It is a proven, massively scalable technology. What EnergyX has done here is develop a proprietary lithium selective extractant molecule. When mixed with the brine, this molecule picks up lithium and lithium only, leaving water and everything else behind. After this stage, the lithium ends up in a highly purified and concentrated stream that is about 1/200th the volume of the original brine. We concentrate from 0.05% to about 6%, which is a 120 times increase. The beauty of EnergyX's solvent extraction process is that it simultaneously purifies and concentrates lithium without relatively small energy inputs. Conventionally, this concentration is done using those massive evaporation ponds. The product from solvent extraction is a highly concentrated, high purity lithium chloride brine, which can be directly converted into battery grade lithium hydroxide, lithium carbonate, or other high value lithium products. But what happens to the water we left behind? Let's walk over to reverse osmosis to see that.
So Amit has been with us since the beginning. He was one of the first 5 employees that ever joined EnergyX, and actually the longest lasting. The others are no longer with us. Amit's our Chief Technology Officer. He's the one that has designed this whole plant in terms of the technology. I'm so grateful to have Amit on our team. And now we're at the next step, reverse osmosis. So all the water that we used in the beginning that goes through solvent extraction, we look to recover in reverse osmosis. So over to Amit to tell you a little bit about reverse osmosis.
Welcome to reverse osmosis, or RO for short. This is a highly trusted, widely utilized technology for recovering pure water from salty streams or ocean water. Believe it or not, Israel and Saudi Arabia get 90% of their drinking water from RO. Remember the water we left behind in Essex. We need to recycle that water in our process. Fresh water is precious in areas we operate. Reverse osmosis cleans the water stream from solvent extraction by forcing only water molecules through membranes, leaving behind any concentrated salts or impurities. Now, remember in adsorption, we used water to release the lithium from our proprietary sorbent. This recovered water in RO is recycled in a loop back to adsorption to recover the next load of lithium, running it through SX and bringing it back here again. That's what makes EnergyX the lowest freshwater consumer in the whole lithium industry. Compare that to the industry. EnergyX operates at 15 to 25 cubic meters per ton of LCE versus typical ranges of 60 to over 200.
Reverse osmosis is pretty cool. Obviously a very integral part of the process. So this plant that we're standing in today, the Lonestar demo plant, as I mentioned, it cost us about $30 million all in to build, and about 12 months of construction to make. Now, we'll run this plant for 6 months and produce half of the overall full nameplate capacity, send that off to customers, and then we'll allow other companies from the region to do their own testing that are interested in licensing our technology, because we'll be moving on to demo. Here's the next step. This is our membrane bipolar electrodialysis. We have a great team, but I'll let Amit tell you a little bit more about that.
Welcome to our membrane bipolar electrodialysis, or BPD for short. This is EnergyX's third proprietary pillar of its GitLit DLE technology platform. The stack and membranes you see behind me are EnergyX's own formula, and the process is patented. There are 2 main lithium materials used in batteries, depending on the battery type: lithium carbonate or lithium hydroxide. Both are used in electric vehicles, with lithium hydroxide preferred for EVs with higher energy density and longer range batteries. Carbonate is also used in stationary storage, where battery weight is less critical. EnergyX membranes are an elegant solution that converts lithium chloride directly into lithium hydroxide in solution. That solution can then go directly to crystallization to produce a battery-grade product. This BPED process also created a byproduct that we can recycle in the solvent extraction step. Yet another synergy realized by integrating the 3 main pillars of the GitLit trademark DLE platform. Finally, this highly purified concentrated lithium hydroxide solution heads over to crystallization. The last step, NG, the 3 main pillars of the GitLit trademark DLE platform.
Amit's a rock star, absolute rock star. So We have one step left after our membrane bipolar electrodialysis. That is the lithium hydroxide production. And that's the battery grade stuff that we're producing here at Lonestar. So over to Amit to tell you about crystallization and lithium hydroxide production.
Welcome to lithium hydroxide crystallization, the final step in the process. This is where the lithium hydroxide solution produced in BPD is finally crystallized into white powder. Yes, I know what you're thinking. White powder is the form of battery-grade lithium. As water evaporates, the lithium hydroxide concentration increases. This continues until the solution becomes saturated. Any further evaporation causes lithium hydroxide crystals to begin forming. Crystallization is a continuous process where the BPD product is continuously fed to the crystallizer and product crystals are continuously removed, dried, and packaged for shipment to customers. Now you've seen how lithium hydroxide can be produced from the vast lithium resources right beneath your feet. Check out the finished product next.
Pretty cool stuff, huh? One last station. We have the lithium that we've produced at this plant. So we have the 25 kg bags. We have the barrels, the drums. We have the half-ton super sacks. And eventually we're looking to produce 1-ton mega sacks. So this is real lithium that we produced here in Lonestar already this month. We commissioned this plant a few weeks ago and started producing. So over to Amit to give you a little bit about the final product.
This is the biggest direct lithium extraction plant in the United States at 250 tons per annum. But after this, we plan to build a 50,000-ton plant. However, we are sending samples from this plant to get qualified by major customers. We package our lithium products in 25 kilogram bags all the way up to 1-ton super sacks. The innovations in the GetLit platform and the synergies we highlighted along the way position EnergyX to become one of the lowest cost lithium producers with ambitions to become one of the largest, powering a sustainable mobility and clean energy future.
Thanks, Amit. So with that, I want to thank you all for tuning in on the live stream to Get Lit at Lonestar. Have a great evening, and thanks everybody for joining. Let's get lit.